to kick my staff out if you'd like to. And I'm gonna have Paul Giuseppe, who is gonna be running these meetings, but just to welcome him and a nice hot day to Old Colony Planning Council. With that, Paul Giuseppe.
Well, hi everyone, and hi everyone up on Zoom as well. I'm Paul Giuseppe. I'm the new Economic Development Director. I'm replacing the partially retired Don Sullivan, who is still working with us for 10 hours a week. And Don, in fact, might be on a plane right now coming back from Greece. So he's leaving what actually was a pretty cool area in Europe and going to be coming back into our heat wave. So, but I'm really excited to be with you all. My background's in economic development. I've been mostly a municipal planner, but I thought it was important that we start getting the EDC going again, because you all have been doing important work. And fortunately, I had an opportunity to coordinate with Alicia, and she gave me some great information that helped. I hope, pretty confident we're going to have a good meeting today. So with that, Alicia, do we want to get you, or Mary, do you want to say your words? Or?
Well, actually, I think I did, but we should first introduce everybody around the table because there's some new faces. So we'll start with the chair of EDC.
Hello, Alicia Siciliano Perry, owner of Alluring Concepts. I also come on Pembroke Planning Board. So I'm business owner as well as involved in the town. So I have a unique outlook on economic development.
Paul Valella. I'm a business representative with the North Atlantic States Carpenters Union. I live in Duxbury. I also sit on the Mass School Building Authority's European Panel Review, so I'm quite familiar with all public work and procurement and everything else that's going on in Massachusetts in general, but definitely concentrate on the South Shore and Old Colonies districts.
Andy DiMacedo from Bridgewater State University, External Relations. Jason Hunter, Executive Director at Sally Great Rock Workforce Board. Richard Jordan, Town Planner for Avon. Charlie Seeley, Town Administrator, East Bridgewater.
And then those online, maybe you can in my screen and then. So ask folks to, there we go.
Oh, this is Sue Murray from Seed on the call. I don't know why my camera's not working, but I just want to say it's kind of hard to hear people. If there's a microphone, that would help us on the phone. Oh, join as a panelist.
Thank you, Susan. I might ask for ease just to have us get a little more closer here. We're having a little technical difficulties, but I think all the conversations are okay. How about that, Susan? Does that work?
Yes, that's much better. Thank you.
And your camera's working.
Yep, got it. I'm a panelist.
Okay, there you go.
So, Steve, how about you, Stephen?
Hi, folks. Steve Cole, Executive Director of the Plymouth Foundation. Would love to be there with you in person, but I haven't been able to break away from my desk for a couple of days.
Want to be by the water.
John?
Hi, I'm Dawn Byers. I'm really here just to observe. I am a select board member in the town of Whitman. So I saw Whitman was on your agenda, so I'm just here to listen and learn. Thank you.
Glad to see you again, Dawn. Joe?
Joe, can you introduce yourself?
We'll come back to you, Joe. Maybe Ken Kirkland?
Hey everyone, just Ken Kirkland, Director of Planning and Community Development here in Easton.
Thanks, Ken. And one of my favorite people in the whole world, Trish Shropshire.
Mary, I'll kill you later. Hi, Trish Shropshire. At the town of Bridgewater, I'm new assistant town manager here. And we have some, thank you.
Congratulations on that, Trish. Stephen Cole, I'm sure was going to say something about me calling you my favorite person, but
I was going to text you offline.
Yeah, that's okay, because I am, and you just have to accept it.
Joe, if you could introduce yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Joe Meck, and I am the procurement manager for the Brockton Area Transit Authority. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I was delayed getting on board. We are in the midst of trying to close out a project, actually needing to kind of safe harbor stuff for a solar panel, solar canopy for our bus maintenance facility. And so I'm just trying to get that all sorted out right now.
Joe, it's great to see that. I know at one of our meetings we held here at OCPC, we connected you to Signature Healthcare, who had the same thing. But with this, I know that there's an agenda, so I'll turn this to either Paul or to Alicia.
Go for it, Alicia.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So up next, we how to attract development. We have on the agenda for today. We have Charlie. Is Charlie's?
Like Charlie's right there.
Oh, Charlie's right in front of me. Sorry, Charlie. From East Bridgewater is the town administrator and is our guest today, and he is going to tell us more about attracting development.
Or what you hope is going to attract development.
Or what we're, yeah, exactly.
We're still in the trying to attract things. So several years ago, the town of East Bridgewater and had been discussing for a number of years before that, for 2022, getting a sewer line connection to the city of Brockton along Route 18, which is North Bedford Street in that section of West of East Bridgewater. The town has no sewer system aside from shared facilities with some of the municipal buildings in more the central area. But Route 18 is our major commercial corridor in East Bridgewater and has a variety of developments that have occurred there in the past. But what the town was hoping for was a significant upgrade in terms of the quality and quantity of the development that was occurring along Route 18. As part of that, working with the landowners and such, and working with the city of Brockton, we were able to first get the connection agreement, it's a municipal agreement with the city, but then also able to use that to leverage state and federal funding, state funding through the one-stop program for infrastructure, and then federal funding through the EDC grant. And so between connection fees and the two grants, most of the project is being paid for not through town funds, but through the grants, through connection fees, and then ultimately through increases in property taxes. Because we've had one major development that has come in that will want a connection to the line, which will be completed, I'm hoping, by the end of next month in July. But a 400,000 square foot warehouse, which the downside is that it's been built, but it's currently unoccupied, and it's been unoccupied during the last 2 years. I think they built that pretty much on spec, but having the connection to the sewer line provides more options for the facility for uses than would have been with just a normal septic system in the area. In addition to that, we had a chapter 40B that is still in the planning stages. It's received its permits, but it would get 80 townhouses not connected to the sewer system of Winter Street in East Bridgewater, 140 apartments up near the Whitman line on Route 18 on the west side. And those would be connected to the sewer line. As I mentioned, the sewer line is not connected to Brockton yet. We're finishing work on a couple of pieces of it next month. But the expectation is the developer will start pulling permits for the townhouses first and then the apartments later this year, which would obviously increase our tax base significantly from that to 220 units. That be about 4% increase in our housing stock alone for that one development. Once the connection happens, I think the town's leaders are hoping that it will be a, if you build it, they will come situation in that current property owners along Route 18, along the west side of Route 18, will now say, okay, what else can I be doing with my property? Maybe it's vacant right now, get it developed, maybe I'm using it right now, but I could leverage having the sewer line
coming by my property and have a connection to it, to something more intensive than what a septic system would feel allowed. And given the financial problems that many communities in southeastern Massachusetts are having right now, even though it's more in the home stage, it would make a significant difference in the finances for the town, or our ability to provide services to the residents and businesses if we can take that source system and get the economic development started up. I think originally we were hoping for earlier dates, but we had some delays on the federal side, and we're seeing obviously some delays, I think, when we were hoping for development. But if we didn't have that, we would get a lot less possibilities along Route 18. So, but it was, working with a number of people making that happen. It's never just the select board. It's working, for instance, with the city of Brockton. It's working with OCPC. It's working with state and federal agencies. It's working with property owners so that we can get the line built through their properties. We didn't want to involve MassDOT along Route 18 because that would probably double the difficulties of getting the line in, because Route 18 is a state road rather than a town maintained road. But working with everybody made it possible to have this built. And working with everybody is going to make it possible to derive some financial and economic benefits, not just for East Bridgewater, obviously, but the developments that could occur would attract jobs that could be employed, filled with employees from other communities, including the city of Brockton. Signature Healthcare, for instance, is on one property that they're leasing. We're hoping for other health sectors on that property. Equity Associates has been trying to, again, no leverage, having sewer line there, and some of those possibilities would need significant amounts of sewers given the number of people employed or might reside in those facilities. So we're looking ahead, but it does require coordination. It does require not a short-term goal in the sense of, obviously, if the city of East Bridgewater have been talking about this for a number of years before 22, and it's already 2026, you can't expect everything to happen all at once, and you have to be patient with everybody involved.
Okay. So does anybody have any questions for Charles? So how long for the sewer project, how long has it been in works, like from now?
Since we worked with the city to get the connection, get the IMA through the city council and the mayor's office in 2022, along with funding in 2022, initial borrowing in 2022. So construction has only been relatively recent. It was only last fall and into the summer.
Mm-hmm.
But the planning work that had to get involved has been years in the making.
Okay.
Has the town contributed any money to it at all?
Indirectly, property taxes, in that the warehouse that's built and will more than offset the cut after you take out all the betterments or connection fees of the state federal grants. The remainder we're bonding, but the warehouse taxes are going to be more than offsetting the principal and interest payments. So the net is that yes, we are spending property taxes, but it's property taxes we didn't have before the line went in. So for everybody else in town, they're not having to pay any.
I would just weigh in to say that, as Old Colony Planning Council has had the regional water study that Joanne Zigman had worked out with all of our communities. We're also going to be applying for a wastewater study through EDA. When one may say, what does it have to do with economic development? It has everything to do with economic development. Knowing that behind the scenes and seeing the emails that have come past my emails, my computer, late nights, early mornings, over the weekends, working behind the scenes, working in front of the scenes. This was a couple things for me. It's seeing the example of state and local and regional and federal folks and private businesses really rowing in the same direction. It's a great example. not an easy one, because government, as Charlie and others can sometimes, and private business can say it's just bureaucracy and paperwork. And there is. But with the end results of public dollars partnering with private dollars to then also see this result, I think it really will be, we probably won't see it immediate, but we will see that economic engine assist the town of East Bridgewater in going forward, particularly bringing businesses, the workforce, which is another element that with Jason and Greater Brockton Workforce Board, and working together to find the people to go into those businesses. So anyway.
Are you going to have to create a sewer department? Sort of, in that it's we have, as I mentioned, we have a sewer line that handles the municipal buildings, and there are a couple of commercial facilities. So we're going to have to build out of that. And then, but for instance, we have to hire an additional employee, as an example, because of the various testing and checking, maintenance requirements for any line like that. But again, once we have it in operation, we should have more usage fees to offset the additional cost.
Are you going to, maybe you already have some kind of policy for connection fees and?
Yes.
You already have that established in the time.
Okay.
I don't imagine you're doing this, but in Avon, we've already allocated a 1.4 million toward future sewer that doesn't exist today.
Right, so I believe it's on this list, right?
Yeah.
So I'm envisioning maybe a cost benefit stream over 10-year study, sort of, okay, given the town's investment of X $million of town taxpayer money, how much revenue increase tax revenue will hit us in year 4, 5, 6, 7, and does that, to what extent does that offset
right.
town investment? You're not doing anything like that?
Well, we looked at the long range economic forecast based on the property taxes to see whether, even if we didn't get the same federal grants, we could offset payments, the loan payments against what we were hoping to gain in property taxes from the housing development and the warehouse. And we thought we would be able to pull it off. Now, with the same federal grants, basically, I would say it's free money. Get the main benefit if we can increase additional development along Route 18. But it's certainly a net positive for the town right now, and hoping to grow that.
Currently, are the existing businesses on 18 tying in as well?
Yes, because we've had, as we were going through many of their properties, we were having conversations with them. Okay, we're going to need an easement, but you're also going to connection, which will obviously benefit. We weigh how much gallonage are you going to be using or allocated per day. So we're looking at what percentage of that is against total project cost versus what the value of the easement is. So a number of the businesses along there, especially once we've had property going through the properties, we're have connections to. What will happen is that there are properties which the line abuts but aren't going through, and we would hope to make connections with those properties also for additional connections.
Okay. And in the future, do you have any thoughts of expanding beyond Route 18 for that connection, or?
I would say not right now, simply because we haven't.
Totally understand.
And the thing is, the natural thing to do would be to go over to the other side of Route 18, the east side of Route 18, do the same thing. But challenge is going to be again with MassDOT. Once we involve them, it's a different level of complexity. Maybe if we found one site to make the cross connection over, and then said, okay, we'll run another sewer line on the east side of Route 18. But we want to get this done first. Because outside of the school system, it's the largest infrastructure project that East Bridgewater's ever done.
And can I just maybe follow up? So just following up on that, as Mary mentioned, we're waiting on funds to do a regional wastewater study. That's the type of thing this, if we get the funding, we could help look at with our consultant to see, is there a feasibility of expanding there or into other communities or addressing any capacity issues in any of our communities.
So the challenge always is with the federal and state monies, setting aside MBTA compliance issues, but
Yeah.
Is that, they want to see some return on their investment. They want to see number of jobs established. They want to see housing, depending on which agency. EDA is just jobs. State is looking at jobs and housing. So if it's just going to be, okay, the properties that are there, the businesses that are there are going to have a sewer line, it may not be something they'll look at as favorably. Not that it would be unfavorable, but they only have a certain amount of money. They want to see additional jobs. They want to see additional housing built wherever their dollars are going to. If all we're doing is serving the current residents or current businesses along Route 18, they're probably not going to be as enthusiastic about it. And then the question becomes, can we do? Well, it's two pieces. Can we get it to pay for itself, either through connection fees or usage fees, but also going back to the city of Brockton and saying, we will have to have shown that we've used up our quota that they've given us, in that those gallons per day are now allocated along the businesses and the residential development. And we have now the potential of bringing more effluent to the city. Obviously, we pay them, but we'll need them on board to do something like that too. And if they're looking at their own capacity and their own job creation and housing here in the city, they're going to weigh whether it's enough of a benefit for them to offer an increase for East Bridgewater versus devoting those gallons to the city itself.
Excellent. Anyone online have any additional questions before we move on to our next item on the agenda? Doesn't look like it. All right. Well, thank you, Charlie, for that. That was great. Up next, we have our project update. And I'll turn this over to Paul so he can go over our list, where we're at, and any quick updates.
Thank you. And so this is going to be an interactive exercise. This was something when Alicia and I spoke, she had said it would be beneficial, to really get the group involved in some decision making. And so we talked about a bit, and we want to go over this with you to show you not only what's been done, but help have you tell us what should we think about prioritizing as we go forward. I think you'll see in this, so what we're looking at are the list of projects that are in our SEDS report, the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy report. And there is a list of priority projects that are in it, but there's also a bigger list that's in appendices that's sort of in the bullpen. That, and what I want to see is, are there any projects from that appendix that can go into that we can move up to the priority project list. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to work with you all on this, because these are largely projects they're all projects in your communities. So let me just get started with this. So what I'd like to do is just report out on what has been accomplished so far up until right now, and then introduce these candidate projects that could be, we're in the spirit of World Cup, thinking about your, Premier Soccer. They're getting relegated up from the B leagues to the A leagues. Not really a soccer person, but I know they do that, which unfortunately for the Red Sox, we don't do that in Major League Baseball. But then I'd really like for you all we're going to do a voting exercise to figure out which projects we can move up. And then with your permission, have a motion, make it official. So we've actually completed 6 projects. And again, these are my predecessors who've done great work. And also our comprehensive planning division also has had a significant part in this. You'll see from the list, the projects that are done are all important, all impactful. The commercial and industrial site inventory. So this is looking at opportunity sites within each of our 17 communities. This is online. It shows people where there's vacant land, where there's other development opportunities in commercial and industrial land. We've also completed a regional water study that is dovetailing with hopefully we will be getting the wastewater study, but this was looking at the water needs in our region, where there's capacity and supply, where we could continue to expand it to promote growth. So that's completed. For Plymouth, we also completed the whole tech master plan, which was the Pilgrim nuclear power site. So that was finished. In Whitman, we just, as select board member knows, she was at the meeting, we recently completed a downtown improvement strategy, which I'm going to go over after this exercise very quickly. That plan is finished. We've just recently done the presentation to the select board. And for Charlie in East Bridgewater, in addition to having done the sewer expansion, we've also done a business assistance guide. So it's essentially how to do business in East Bridgewater. And it's a very extensive amount of resources to help businesses and developers looking to develop there. And so those are 6 projects now that are done. And but we have some active projects at different stages. I mean, currently we have an EDA planning grant, which helps to fund my position, but it gives us a chance to also do master plans and other area planning projects. It's a general type of grant that we use for planning activities. So we've used it extensively for the planning. We're also involved, Rick knows, we're involved heavily with the Tech Hub strategic planning grant. And the goal of the Tech Hub, Jason, of course, is to increase the pipeline for getting students into advanced manufacturing. And we're looking at the 6 communities in our region along Route 24. So Avon is one of them, Easton, Brockton, West Bridgewater, Stoughton. And so that's our goal, is to try to get that pipeline going. So we're full throttle on that one now. And that was funded by the Mass Tech Collaborative. We're wrapping up the next one, the EPA brownfield site assessments. We have some money left, but we're doing well. Again, my predecessors kept that one going. We should be wrapping that up hopefully by the end of this year, but we have until next year to finish that. So that's looking at contaminated sites. We can do different assessments. We can work on plans for remediation. So that's going well. And then one of the plans we've just received, we're in the early stages, but it's the regional policy plan. So we're looking at our entire community to look at from a more regional perspective. From an economic perspective, I'll be working with the comprehensive planning team to put a regional economic direct focus on it. As we've already talked about, we're still waiting to hear from the EDA, but I think we're in the final stages of that. It's been the Philadelphia regional office has sent this off to Chicago, which ultimately will be making that decision. So we're optimistic. This would be a real impactful project for the region, because again, this will identify where there's a need for future sewer. And as Charlie mentioned, sewer is it's the biggest driver of growth. Where do you want it? And so that's big. And the last on this particular slide is Avon and Easton. We had submitted grants to the EDA for both those communities to do design and engineering work for their sewer projects to serve their really significant industrial parks. We were denied. Now the EDA midstream has kind of moved the goalposts on us. When we submitted the notice the notice that came out a few years ago said design and engineering was an eligible project, but we've been told now that they are not prioritizing design and engineering. They want construction, they want shovel-ready projects. So we're working with those communities to figure out funding for the design and engineering. Once we get it, then we can go back to EDA for construction dollars. So we're not giving up. We're going to go forward. We'll figure out some way of getting the design and engineering done. So that sets the baseline of where we're at. But what I'd like to do now is start going over roughly 20 projects. And you can see from the list of Appendix B, it's much larger than that. But I wanted to just focus on projects from Exhibit B that would be eligible for EDA funds, primarily because we're an economic development district. So we can apply for those funds. Not everyone can apply to EDA, but we can. So if there was a project you all wanted to take out of there from that list that's not here, feel free to do so. And I figured,
Paul, if I could just,
sure.
For the folks who are online, do they know about the list? Because you were sent it, but just remind them that was in the email that you sent.
Oh, true. Yeah, this was part of the email that this was an attachment to the email. So there's roughly 20-ish projects, and they're centered on either infrastructure improvements or redevelopment planning. They're largely planning projects. And so what I'm going to do is ask you, as we go down through the list, I'll briefly explain it and then ask you all to vote if you'd like to see this go on the priority list. And so just thinking it would be great if you voted on no more than 5. I don't think, unless the chair's counting. But we just want to make sure we have a good representation of what you would like to see go forward. But we can't have everyone voting for everything. So we just figured.
Can we see the people online? So maybe they raise their hand. So
I'm going to switch. I'm going to switch off because at this point, I don't think I had anything else other than. I think that was it. Yeah. So we're going to stop sharing, and I'm just going to go from the list. Oops. And again, my apologies for the technical issues that, well, I'll say I'm having. But I'd like to just start with, I had sent out the list. I did make a few modifications because I realized my mistake that there were a few projects on here that were not on in the appendix. So I can just go through. Yeah, it would be great if we could share the screen, but we can't see you if we do that. So what I wanted to do is just quickly go through this and get an indication, especially with you all who are online, if you can go put your cameras on, that way we can count you. And so what I'd like to do, because there's about 15 or 20 projects to see if, and when you vote, I will count the votes and then mark it, and then we'll figure out at the end what are the top 6. So so looking at the list, and if you have it in front of you, Abington, there were 2 there for Abington, economic development infrastructure and economic development planning. These are just the development infrastructure. It's just an infrastructure upgrade to support the commercial and economic development activities. Nothing specific, but probably geared toward their commercial area. And then there's also a planning study to look at, looking at a more long range. Does anyone have any questions about those 2, or do you want to vote if you would like to put one or both of those up for consideration for the priority list?
We have no hand raised. Does
that mean no one wants to vote for that one?
Yep.
Okay.
Move on to the next one.
Avon. Okay, Avon. Their industrial park, as we mentioned, they didn't get the design and engineering, but they still have the opportunity, again, once we get funding for the design and engineering for construction for a sewer line to their industrial park. Do we have any votes for that? We have one, two. Any votes online? I see a 3,
Okay.
4, 5, 6. Okay. Bridgewater, we have Scotland Industrial Park redevelopment. It's a construction, it's for infrastructure improvements to support the expansion into Scotland Industrial Park. Anybody, first, I guess let's do it. I guess it's easier. In person, who would vote for moving Bridgewater's up to the list?
We got one there.
One there. Trisha's voting for it. Anyone else?
Jenny?
Hi, Paul, this is Sue Murray. Can I just ask a question?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm all for shovels in the ground, which I think is what you said the best chance of EDA approval is. But you have 16 to go through, and we can only vote for 5.
Do you see a flaw in that, Sue?
No, I'm just afraid that I'm going to use up my 5 before I can really decide the way we're doing it. I mean, I'm county neutral and town neutral because seed supports everyone. Could we put them in categories or something? I don't want to.
What if we sent this out as a survey and everybody could select the ones that they find as their top priority?
That's a great idea.
Rather than trying to just for simplicity's sake. Okay, why don't we do that?
I think that would give us more time to look at them all.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
You
guys okay if we just do it as a survey?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, we could do that. That's a great idea.
Because I think that'll make it a little bit more simplified.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Sue.
So does that wind up our project update?
Yeah, we're gonna just send those out. I'll send this modified list out as a survey, and you guys just tell me which ones you want.
Perfect.
So.
All right, so for time's sake, let's move on to our next item. We have the Whitman Downtown Master Plan. So we'll kick that back to you, Paul, and give us an update on that project.
Here we go. Yeah, so again, let's try that again. Here we go. Okay, I assume everyone can see that. Right. Okay. So, as part of this, we entered into an agreement. Whitman had asked us to help them figure out how to take what's really already a beautiful downtown, but be able to create a more walkable, vibrant community for it. So, I'm not going to step you through the entire presentation, but we looked at. Again, this was Nick Gianquinto, who was the primary lead on this. We looked at area attributes, looking at the physical makeup of the downtown, like things like lot size. We looked at infrastructure. We looked at, by the way, they're very close. Their downtown's very close to a T-stop. And it can be a wonderful connection and expansion of their downtown potentially. But we looked at the physical makeup of the entire area as part of it to help set, what are the actual conditions, which will help figure out then what are the tasks that need to be done to address issues. We looked at their demographic data. In a nutshell, Whitman's doing very well in a lot of ways. Demographically, people are moving in, their incomes are going up. They're seeing a growth in young professionals, which, as a former town planner, I mean, that's one of the big groups you'd like to get. And it's tough, for many communities to get, but they're getting it. So that helps them figure out, who's living there, who's moving there, what are the things that we do to make it possible to make it a more enjoyable place for people to live. You can see these various goals. I mean, it was all centered really around creating a more walkable, connected downtown, which again, they really have good bones to start with. This plan had recommendations for infrastructure improvements to help make it happen. It had design standards to, to spice it up, so to speak. And it was a good canvas to work with. There's a lot of there already. So we looked at these components, public realm and diversifying the economy. So these recommendations are all in the plan. I mean, here's a series of recommendations that are here. And it covers a number of ways in which you move a plan forward, from zoning changes to making investments in your community to marketing. And so these are things that we can do. So if you're looking for your community to have a plan like this, and there were plans, or as you're looking at this exercise as a survey, this is the type of work we'll do to help out and help a community figure out what its needs are and how we can help you get there. And in particular, for communities that, like Whitman, that doesn't have a planner, or you have one planning staff only, and I've been there. It's really difficult for a one-person shop to actually write a plan. That's why we needed consultants, and that's what we do here. So these are important things, because you'll end up with manageable recommendations that the community then can work together to move it forward and get things going. So and it's up. We have it up online if you want to see it. It's on the OCPC website, and I know we sent it to Whitman. It's probably up there, but you can look at the plan in its entirety on our website.
Okay. Anyone have any questions?
Guidelines already, even though they don't have a plan. How did that happen?
Well, no, the recommendation, I'm sorry, Rick, the recommendation was for more design guidelines, right? Although, again, if Whitman, was built a long time ago, back when we just naturally built communities a lot more attractively in our downtowns. But yeah, they would have to consult. And again, whether it's us, we would love to continue to help out. I see it.
Trish, did you have a comment or question?
Me? I'm listening.
Oh, okay. Your hand was raised still. It must have been from before. Sorry about that.
Let me lower it. Sorry about that.
No worries. So Paul, one question I have for you is, so in that master plan for the downtown, do we also help them come up with a way to roll it out? Because I know, we do all these plans, and then without a town planner, there's nobody that's executing it to help them, actually go forward on the project.
Well, what we can do is, as part of the implementation section, there are ways to lay out a plan to say, here are the actions that are being done. You group them by, if it's
boards and departments. And,
right. And so you can group it that way and help figure out who would be the group that can go out and make this happen, or the individual.
Right.
But an implementation chapter, should do that. That's a critical thing. You want to have a plan that's kind of nicely laid out, where you have a few pages of the key actions that you have to take.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments online? No? Dawn, did you have anything to add from the town of Whitman?
No, thank you for the refresher on that, Paul. Much appreciated. And I appreciate your follow-up too, asking how to roll it out and execute it. And you're right, you've got to discuss next steps as a board and see where the town wants to go with it. But I appreciate all the work that was done. It's quite a comprehensive report. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, if there's no more questions, then we can move on to the next. Paul, you have on the agenda member update.
Oh, just to, if you didn't know, but Jonathan Jambulis, who was co-chair, he resigned recently. So, you know, I hadn't met him, but even for you, for you all, I just appreciate that you all volunteer for activities like this. And I know some of you volunteer for other things. So it makes our communities better, just having volunteers. So I know he was running Cape Cod restaurants. That's, to get his time, that's greatly appreciated.
Okay. All right, now we have public comment. I know Paul and I had talked from when he came on, and some of the things that I talked about with him was, some of these products are great, but we also want to know how we can help each other. Topics that we want to discuss, different, if we need guest speakers or anything like that for the next meetings, we're open to hearing from all of you, additional people that might be good to sit on this committee with us all to help our community. So if anybody has any thoughts on anything, we'd love to hear it to help this continue to grow and be something that's beneficial for all of us if we're spending our time here to help our communities or our businesses, whichever. And we welcome to have additional people join our committee if they're, interested and want to participate. Any other comments on that one? No? All right, and then our next meeting, do we have a date scheduled for our next meeting?
Wanted to check with you all if you wanted to.
Okay, when we June in September?
That's a good time.
Usually they're doing it every 3 months.
Right. So September sounds good. Is there any restrictions on the date and time, or, not the time? Noon is good, right?
Here's my recommendation, is the fact that there were so many of you here today. Let's look at least a couple dates to hold on your calendar, so you're not. So I would, you should have your calendar
Yeah.
as a chair.
I'm in construction. My calendar is like fluid on a weekly basis. September, that seems very far away. Let's see.
So the only thing we have for Old Colony Planning is our monthly finance and our council meetings. That's the last Tuesday and Wednesday of the month.
Mm-hmm.
They're at nighttime. But it would almost be nice to have that meeting, and then we could report out on the activity of the sense to the council.
So maybe the week before, or like the 23rd, we doing a Wednesday or a Tuesday? Does it matter?
I don't think it's in the bylaws what day it is.
No, I don't think so.
No.
That's why we want you to.
Dates out, just what
Yeah.
also around
23rd.
The 23rd?
23rd.
that work. What's the date of the?
I'm just thinking.
The 30th is,
Did you report on about that at all?
Tech help or?
Yeah, the tech level. Well, no, Mary Reeves health conference. That you are,
The Black Rock one, there were 2 of them.
this is the one we.
Oh, was the 29th and the 30th?
Yeah,
No, I certainly
well,
can't.
everybody's checking their calendar.
I'll talk about, everyone else is
About
doing
the
something else.
symposium.
So as part of, it's following along the same tracks as Mary and Paul had mentioned about the tech hub. This one is on the clean energy side. We are working with OCPC, ACT, City of Rockland, a number of other partners to host convening in the clean energy world. Kind of all encompassing on how we can make Brockton and the surrounding region kind of position ourselves as a leader in jobs and career pathways, and how we expose people to those different avenues. So we are targeting September 29th for that meeting, but don't quote me on that. As soon as we have a hard fast date, I'll make sure that this group and everyone else has a flyer.
Yeah, send us an email.
Yeah, absolutely.
okay. So is there anybody that objects to the 23rd?
What time?
noon. Same time, same location. Perfect. So September 23rd, we'll pen, unless something comes up.
We do have a question from Dawn about representatives. Is there one from each town? And then how are they selected?
So there is a bylaw. I'll have Paul send out the bylaw to everyone. There's one vote basically for each community. You can have someone representing you if you cannot make it. But it's very similar to how we function as a council. There's a delegate and an alternate. They're both coming, both can't vote. It only has to be one. So, but we'll send out the bylaws just to refresh people's mind. That might be also a good time to look at the bylaws as you look at them to see, again, this is supposed to be robust discussion, not only just projects. If Don Sullivan was here, Mary, it's all about projects, but it's also relationship building. It's also about supporting each other. If you've got projects going on, write letters of support. By far, any of the grants that we have written have been successful when we have state, federal, local, small business, big businesses, folks, citizens coming together. That's when it's successful. So we'll get the bylaw sent out and then perhaps have an agenda item to go over bylaw. But really would be great to do some reporting out. And if anybody here has projects that you have going on in your community, by that point, maybe we can have some further information in advance about the symposium, the workforce, transparency. I serve on the board, the workforce board, but there's lots of things that are going on. So it's multiple levels. It's jobs, it's education, it's training, it's communication. So it's labor altogether. So does that answer the question? Sorry, Don. A little bit longer.
Right. That's why these meetings are great, Mary, and whoever can be here in person, it's always great because building that network and knowing each other and having a person to go to in the next town from yours or in your next community or business, and how we can all work together to get things done and move our communities forward.
And Paul had said it earlier, we used to have a team of 2 full-time staff in economic development. We don't, we're looking for ways to support that. But right now, Paul is working on all the various pistons that, when Dawn coming back as well, but we work as a team to get this done. I think it might even be helpful in advance. Maybe we do a little bit of a poll of folks about what topics you'd like to have the discussion, what projects, just what we talked about with East Bridgewater. There's regional projects that are going on, but there's also, there's 2 folks that came into the office today from the Small Business Administration who are going to the communities because they have funds available for those that suffered during the blizzard. That's great information. So they came in here for the Downtown Brockton Association, not for OCPC, but that's great information to share and working on those collaboratives. So anyway, have a cool week this weekend, everybody.
Yeah, stay cool.
You can always come to OCPC as a cooling center.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for being online.
Thank you, Mary.
All right, so we'll see you all at our next meeting, September 23rd at noon. And please let us know if you have any topics or things that you would like to discuss, or if you have something that you want to bring to the table, we'd love to hear it, or people that you want to hear from.
Thanks.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.